Well, the GWS have come out and absolutely smashed the back-to-back premiers here in round 11. And what a game we had at Marvel Stadium between the Melbourne Demons and the Western Bulldogs. The Western Bulldogs just holding on as the Demons came hard at the end when they were trailing by about 5 or 6 goals. Made it hard for the Bulldogs. They managed to hold on. Let's get into reviewing both those games right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining you as always is your host, Trent Diolton, or some of you might know me as Tricky, and this is part 2 of the round 11 review. Just 2 games were played as we're recording this on a Sunday night. So just the 2 games, and we started off at NG Stadium between the Giants and the Brisbane Lions. And the Giants have come out and absolutely smashed the Brisbane Lions, the reigning back-to-back premiers. And if we do this, I thought I deleted all that. Let's have a look. It hasn't refreshed. Hang on a second, guys. 1 second with me. Bear with me. Here we go. Just refresh now. They've absolutely smashed them by a total of 76 points in the end. 26 goals, 10, 166 the Giants defeated defeated Brisbane, 13-10, 88. Where they went on a run where they exploded in the third, kicking 14 goals. 4 of them went to Toby Green in a captain's performance in that third quarter. Stringer and Green kicked 5 each. Grzeski and Cadman, the other 2, the key tools, kicked 3 each. Daniels kicked at Brown, Riccardi, and Phoenix Goffard, who was enormous. Loving Phoenix Goffard this season, being added into that forward line. He kicked 2 as well, but he also had 28 disposals to go along with his 2 goals and laid 10 tackles, 6 of them in the forward 50. Been an absolute find. He was one of the draft bolters back in 2024. He didn't even have his club. The club he came from, like Eastern Rangers or whatever it was, didn't even have the polo. His TAC club is right, or Talents League. Is that what they go by now? It changes that often now. I think it's Talents League. Didn't even have their polo with him on night 1 because he thought if he was to go, he would be going night 2. And I can't remember who the player was that he was there with celebrating, but he had to switch to their polo and be able to get it. I remember that. And he's come in and reshaped that forward line. It seems like he's kicking a goal or 2 a game. And what I love about him is he's quick, hits the scoreboard, but he also lays forward half pressure. So loving Phoenix Goffard there was really good there as well. Rayner and Lohman battled hard for the Lions, kicking 3 each, and McKenna and Cameron kicked 2 each. Clayton Oliver has been absolutely enormous for the Giants since coming across some Demons after they let him go and threw him out to the trash. And he was enormous. 37 disposals, 23 of them contested, 11 clearances, 8 tackles, and 591 metres gained. Callahan started off slow in this game, but picked it up when it really mattered. And when they went in that third quarter, Callahan was one of those players who was just huge. 30 disposals in the end, 10 inside 50, 7 tackles, and a goal, and 713 metres gained. We mentioned Goffard with 28. Lockie Ash also had 28. Another one who started off really slow and picked it up in that third quarter, playing more of half back, with Lockie Whitfield being a late out at the start of the game. 8 rebound 50s, 8 inside 50s, 8 score involvements, and 773 metres gained. Well, Toby Bedford also played a bit of high half forward, but also some midfield time with his tackling pressure and just pure speed around the ball. 26 disposals, 8 tackles, and a goal. Neil tried hard, 32 disposals, 9 clearances, 6 tackles, and a goal. Wilmot had 27, going at 89% efficiency, 10 marks and 7 rebound 50s. And Fletcher and Levi Ashcroft had 25 apiece. But this is why the Giants are one of the more frustrating teams. They are known to be able to score quickly, but they have really, really struggled this season. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but they still got talent on their list, and they showed it when they went and kicked 14 goals in the third quarter. 14 is insane. 4 of them to Green, 3 of them to Stringer, I believe it was. But that is absolutely insane. It begs the question: is it Adam Kingsley the coach sometimes? Is it the injuries? Are Giants actually good and they just haven't been performing? Or are the Lions struggling as well? It's really hard to pick up on because we know what the tsunami can provide, but we just haven't seen it this year. And we thought, maybe the Giants window have closed. But now we see this performance and we go, have they closed? Has it really closed? or have they just been underperforming and they still have the talent to match it up with the top teams? It's really a hard one to really pick because I've mentioned the last couple of years, I've made the mistake of backing the Giants as some of my flag favorites, and then they've gone out and consistently let me down in big games, or they've dropped games that they shouldn't have. But this was a game that they would not have been expected to really win, or at least win in this fashion. So hats off to them to be able to do that. In this type of performance, Callahan's a start. Oliver, as I mentioned, been so good. Cadman, while he didn't have a massive he kicked 3, but he could have kicked much more. There was at the start of the game, he was dropping marks, but getting his hands to it and bringing it to ground. So that did have a massive impact as well. If he wasn't marking it, he was at least making a contest and bringing it to ground. GWS Giants were so impressive in this game. And the Brisbane Lions will have to go back to the drawing board because that's 2 weeks in a row they've really had their pants pulled down. But the absolute match of the day was the game that just finished up right then at Marvel. The Western Bulldogs v Melbourne, and the Bulldogs just hang on. 33 points or 30 points the Demons were down by at one point, and they came back, made it hard for the Bulldogs. Harvey Langford had a chance to mark with about a minute to go, spilled the mark in a contest because we've seen Harvey Langford so many times push to the goal square in just his second season, by ad, so nothing against him. We've seen him so many times push to the goal square and take a really strong contested mark or a one-on-one mark and go back and kick crucial goals. Wasn't able to do it this time, but what a game we had with the Bulldogs. Backs against the wall with their injury, their season on the line, and they just stood up and delivered. One player that has been struggling this year, started off the season copping a little bit of injuries, and then has struggled to find his best form, or his form from last year at least, where he was probably a top 10 player in the competition. That's Ed Richards, and he was enormous. Bob Sacamano performance. He had 30 disposals, 3 goals, 10 clearances, 10 inside 50s, 2 goal assists, and 773 metres gained. So that was a performance where, because I had talked about it with mates as well, that he's been quite poor this season. There's no other way to really put it. He's been letting down. Last year it was like if Bont wasn't performing, at least you had Ed Richards there. It's almost felt like Bontempelli's had to shoulder the load himself. By all means, though, Sanders is starting to... I'm loving seeing Sanders not stuck at a half-forward flank, and now he's starting to play some centre-bounce midfield time. He's not your damage player of kicking, but he's your in and under contested and feeds it out to your player. So he, again... had, where is Sanders? He had another 30 disposals at 83% efficiency and 10 score involvement. So I'm loving seeing Sanders, his development. Bevo was hard on him early, dropped him a couple of times in his first season after tearing up practice matches, and we were like, oh, geez, this is the next up-and-coming star in the midfield. Then he would drop him, send him to half forward. Pretty sure he spent some time on the wing, spent a little bit of time at half back, but now he looks like he's set in the midfield and he's looking so, so good. But Bontempelli as well, the skipper. When the game needs to be won, you know you're going to get a big performance from the skipper, and that's exactly what he gave. 29 disposals, 17 contested, 2 goals, 10 score involvements, and 6 clearances. And Bailey Dale continues his form, 7 intercepts, 7 score involvements as well. Artie Jones has been really good too. Norton was quiet early on, but late in the game, he was so crucial. He kicked 2 goals, but it was some of the pressure that he was putting on around the ball. He was laying, I want to see how many tackles did he lay, because he laid at least a fair few late in the games when the game was on the line, and he should apply the pressure. It's when you see your big man applying pressure around the footy, laying tackles, you're like, oh, okay, we mean business, because if our big men are willing to get involved, well, he only laid the 2 tackles, but he had 18 disposals, 3 goal assists, 8 score involvements, and 2 goals, but it was also where's pressure acts? Pretty sure you can. So you had 8 pressure acts as well, but it was late in games. Like when I'm talking like the last 5 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes, where he was just really damaging the ball carrier, going at him, and was enormous for the Western Bulldogs. But this was a game that they really needed to win, and they have picked D. No one from the Melbourne really shined. Gawn still had 43 hitouts, but 42 hitouts, and 18 disposals and a goal, but. The midfielders didn't really get first use to it. It was the midfield of the Western Bulldogs that had it. The top forward most disposals on the ground are all Bulldogs players, and then it goes to Bowley at 27. The highest disposal getter for the Melbourne Demons midfielder was Cozzy Pickett with 25. But the difference is Cozzy Pickett didn't hit the scoreboard. He kicked 0 goals, 2. If he had confused those goals into 2 goals, we'd be talking about a Melbourne victory. So if Cozzy's not kicking goals, it might be a bit of a problem. But they are still fun and dangerous. This was a great game to watch. Don't put a line from Melbourne yet. Wait till the end of the season when their young team might start fading away as the season carries on. But for now, they can still hold their head up high the way they fought back and nearly pinched it off it. But all in all, what a great game of footy it was. But that's all the round 11 action. Now let's go ahead and have a look at how the ladder stands after round 11. So jumping to the top of the ladder and taking that top spot is the Fremantle Dockers on 40 points. Dropping down to second place on 36 points is the Sydney Swans. So the Dockers are 10-1, the Sydney Swans 9-2. 8-3, and in third spot on 32 is Geelong. Hawthorn jumps up to fourth on 30 points. They've got a draw in there as well with Collingwood. Gold Coast Suns dropped down from fourth to fifth. Melbourne dropped down from fifth to sixth. Adelaide jump up to seventh. Brisbane Lions drop down to eighth. The Bulldogs jump up to ninth now. Collingwood jump up to 10th in that top 10 spot. Then the bottom part of the ladder, St Kilda drop down to 11th. The Giants come up to 12th. So again, that was a must-win game because now they are only half a game outside that 10 of the wildcard weekend. North Melbourne drop down to 13th. Port Adelaide stay in 14th. Carlton come up to 15th. West Coast drop down to 16th. Richmond jump from the bottom to 17th, and Essendon drop from 17th to 18th, and we'll get the number 1 pick in. I'm pretty sure it's this week, mid-season draft as well. So that's how the ladder looks after round 11. That's all the round 11 action. Thank you guys for listening and watching along. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to leave a like and comment on this video. Hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you notify whenever we upload. If you listen to this via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button, turn the notification bell on so you notify whenever we upload. Share this off to a mate who loves their footy as much as I do. And please, guys, remember, if you do enjoy the show, to leave a 5-star rating on the show, as it does help push the show out to newer listeners. If you want to see all the clips in the show and me talk about absolute dribble about footy, make sure you're following us on our socials, Instagram and TikTok. You can find us at @uptheguts_. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Up The Guts and we'll be the first one up the top there in the search bar. Thank you guys for listening and watching along. And until next time, I'll see you guys then.